Hi guys, welcome back to another episode of Straight to Streaming. You know, one of these weeks I am going to watch all good movies. Too bad that wasn't this week. Today we are talking about The Wonder Weeks. The Wonder Weeks is the newest Netflix movie. It's Dutch. It's about these three different couples who are navigating the early weeks of parenthood. One couple is struggling with both parents being working adults and struggling to take care of a kid who's in the early stages of development, and they don't want her falling behind in that development. Then you have this lesbian couple who are struggling with the fact that their donor daddy decides he wants to try to be a father to their kids. And then you have a couple which have two different racial backgrounds, one being from the Middle East, the other one being European, and them struggling to navigate raising a kid that's of two different cultures. Now, a film like this might have been interesting and might have worked if it didn't have three different stories. This is the main problem that the film struggles with. All three stories have half-decent setup, but we don't really get to build on them because they're too busy trying to tell three different stories. And no one story gets a chance to shine. In fact, the story with the couple who are raising the kid of two different racial backgrounds gets pretty much ignored for the majority of the film. And I think that's a shame because that could have been a more interesting story to focus on than the other two stories. And that's the other problem. When we do try to flesh out these stories a little bit, they end up being very uninteresting and very generic. There's not anything new here. There's no new ground being built upon. It's just three generic stories being told very generically and being not as fleshed out as they may have been in their own movies. This is another problem with the characters as well, as none of these characters get fleshed out and developed. In fact, when we do get to know most of these characters, they end up becoming hateable and not really characters we want to sympathize with, as they all are kind of jerks in their own right, and there's not really any necessarily punishment for what the characters do when there is a negative thing that they are trying to accomplish. Again, I'm trying to be vague here so I don't spoil it for anyone who does want to watch this film, even though I don't like this movie. So, it ends up becoming a conjumbled mess of characters and stories that are just not interesting and not well liked. The performances are fine, but they're not really doing anything here to really sell these stories or characters. They're just kind of reading the script, and that's not helping the movie any. Visually, the film isn't doing anything new or interesting. It's just doing your standard film fare. Honestly, if you told me this movie was a Hallmark movie and not a movie straight to Netflix, I probably would have bought that, because it really kind of feels like that. And then you have the music, and it's not adding anything to the movie, and honestly, you can ignore it. It's pretty standard stuff. At the end of the day, Wonder Weeks is a conjumbled mess. They didn't allow any of the stories to get fleshed out. They didn't flesh out any of the characters, and what we get with the characters makes them feel like hateable, despicable people that we don't want to root for. That's not going to help when you're trying to tell a story about parenthood. Now, granted, I am not a parent, so this film was never going to be for me, but I feel like if they wanted to tell a compelling story about the early weeks of parenthood, it should have been way more focused than it currently is. So I'm going to give the Wonder Weeks a 3 out of 10. There is a couple moments where the film tries to save itself, but they're few and far between. Anyway, that's what I thought about the Wonder Weeks. What do you think about it if you've seen it? Let me know in the comments below. And if you like this video, like, comment, and subscribe. And make sure you hit that bell to be notified when I post new content. And I will see you next time.